Hey community, welcome back to the channel everybody. Robert Linkul, trainingtheolderadult.com. I want to talk to you today about an article that just came out February 7th, 2024, Aging Strong, Should We Be Utilizing Resistance and Plyometric Training in Our Older Adults? So I think most of you that are regulars here, or if you're brand new to the channel, welcome, number one. Everybody else, thank you for being here as always. You've seen in every other video, in pretty much anything and everything I produce content-wise, I am discussing the value of resistance training for everybody at any age, at any point in their lives, forever, okay? And that is only justified in almost every research article that's out there. It agrees. Where this one is particularly interesting is the plyometric training component. Plyometrics are the ability to propel your body into flight. So something as simple as jumping rope, right? Where you just barely leave the ground, little jump, little jump, little jump, little jump. Those are plyometrics. You are now taking, let's take a body squat, for example. You're gonna squat and then stand back up. That is a range of motion, strength-based exercise. But the second that I jump at the top of that squat, I make it a squat jump, and I leave the ground just that much, it becomes a plyometric-based exercise, which I'm now worried about preparing, change of direction, acceleration, and then follow through where I sky in the air a little bit, and then I land and I repeat. Prepare, accelerate, follow through, prepare, accelerate, follow through. And so now my goal is not just to work a range of motion, but to propel my body into flight. And so this could be as simple as jumping rope, jump and jump and jump, or a squat jump, or a pop squat, or a drop squat, but then progress to bounds, skips, jumps where I'm moving across the ground, across the floor, across the gymnasium, jumping onto boxes, over boxes, or depth jumps off of boxes. All of those very high difficulty, very high risk in terms of injury if they're not prepared or ready or capable of doing so. In high return, though, on how powerful you can make your body. So there's a new terminology that was introduced in the last year or so to kinesiology, the world of health and wellness and fitness, and the term is potentiopenia, which in one of my favorite words is sarcopenia, is trying to educate those out there, the loss of muscle mass and function, sarcopenia. When you start to lose that muscle mass, you can lose it in a couple of different ways. It could be purely strength-based, or it could be power-based. And so that's potentiopenia, is I'm losing my muscles' ability to move load quickly. That would be power. The other side is dynapenia. Dynapenia is the loss of pure muscular strength. So how heavy can I move something? How fast can I move something of, semi-significant weight? So strength loss, power loss, they're very similar, and they're all lost function under sarcopenia, but specifically which one can we address? In this case, plyometrics would address the potentiopenia aspect of I'm losing my ability to apply force quickly to a load. And this article discusses that. It introduces the benefits of resistance training and plyometrics, discusses what it is a bit, discusses some of the research and suggesting that yes, strength training is very beneficial for all ages, any age, start at any time, never too late. The earlier the better, however. And then introducing plyometrics, you should have a good strength base before starting to do anything where you're going to put your body into flight and learn how to land properly and decelerate that high impact as you come into the ground. So it addresses that a bit and then gives you some suggestions, 1 to 4 exercises, 2 to 3 sets of 3 to 10 jumps, take a good break in between, get at least 25, jumps per workout or per training session so you can do this on a regular basis. Now, I don't want you to just go, well, Rob said I have to start jumping in my workouts. That's not what I'm saying. You need to make sure you're strong and your body is ready to do this. I would suggest 2 to 3 months of just standard, traditional, machine-based resistance training to the point where you could then move free weights, and 2 to 3 months of that, and then you could start to do plyometrics. They are a very damaging, in a good way, exercise that could produce great results for you, but if you're not ready for them, they can cause more harm than good. So you need to make sure you're being progressed properly, you're building the strength, and that The individual teaching you how to do the plyometrics knows what they're doing and places a heavy emphasis on the landing mechanics. Landing is so important. It's like learning how to pull a barbell to your chest, but then not learning how to catch the weight. Like, I'm going to learn how to propel my body into the air, but then once I'm up there, I don't know how to land. It's going to happen. You have to focus on that part. And I think a lot of people just kind of take it for granted that, okay, they'll know how to land. Gravity will take, its role and bring us back, and they'll learn how to softly land, not let their knees collapse, not be overly toe heavy, not be overly heel heavy. You'll learn how to decelerate and transition that load and propel it back. We can't just assume that. When we are in just quick sidebar, like when we're in grade school, really, really young, we learn how to skip and jump and hop and bound and roll and tumble and climb and bear crawl and cartwheel and handstand. And we learn how to do all these things, rope climb, all this. And we're good at that when we're younger, right? Pound for pound, we're pretty much the same size and capable. We're just smaller versions of ourselves, but we practice it on a regular basis. As you get older, you do less and less of those things. These now unpracticed skills, that ability gets lost. And you're like, well, why can't older adults do, muscle ups, or why can't they rope climb? Why can't they do chin ups like they did when they were young? Well, you just haven't practiced it. It's a lost skill. If you don't practice anything, you'll lose your ability to do it well. Well, in this case, we don't crawl around on the ground anymore, and we don't bear crawl, and we don't jump, and we don't bound. We're going to lose our abilities to do that. Now, wait 5 decades and then go, hey, let's go try this again. You're going to get hurt, right? You've got to progress yourself accordingly. Long story short, for the article, resistance and plyometric training are underutilized means of improving health and function in independence in older adults. So definitely want to, obviously do resistance training, but the introduction to a power training based something. I personally, instead of propelling my clients into the air, I like them to propel an implement into the air. I like release lifts or release drills where they get to throw things. You get the same benefit, the same result of producing power, moving quickly, but we don't have to worry about the risk necessarily of them landing awkwardly or funky. We will do some bounds, some things where they'll get off the ground, but for the most part, I like to throw stuff. However, it's still plyometric training, okay? When properly prescribed, these modes of exercise are as safe as low impact and aerobic training in the aging population. So a key component to that is properly prescribed. A minimum effective dose approach can be utilized and can be used to simplify entry points to resistance and plyometric training, and may ease difficulties surrounding adopting new exercise regimens. Meaning that if we just do that basic introduction of what they just suggested, the 25 jumps per session, 3 to 5 exercises, doing the machines or your basic free weights, and just building your ability there, we're going to age well and we're going to keep good capabilities all the way through as long as we practice this on the regular. Now, this is the last little bit here that I wanted to go through is this doctor here, her name is Dr. Wright. Dr. Wright, I just found her page. One of my clients, Linda Kelly, sent this to me, and I really enjoyed listening to her talk about this. I want to share it with you. Let's take a listen, and then we will discuss.
I lift heavy? Well, here are the reasons. Number one, muscle mass keeps me strong. I am never, in my second adulthood from 57 to 97, going to become frail. I'm going to do everything I can to stay strong. Number two.
Okay, so the first part. She's never in her adult life going to allow herself to become frail. I cannot agree, stress, hope, praise, and agree with that comment more. I've had my dad bod era. They're photos that I don't like to look back on, but I look at them often because I want to be reminded what I don't want to be. I don't want to get to a point where I'm so overly heavy and so incapable and in having a body that I'm not proud of. I need to use that, keep that in my mind to keep my motivation for where I want to have this. It's not an aesthetic thing. It's a performance thing. It's a feeling thing. I want to be strong. I always want to be strong, and I want to have the ability to call on that strength whenever I need it, whenever I want it, with my kids, with my family, with in the yard, with whatever I'm doing. I want to be able to call on that strength at any point whenever I need it, and that's part of aging, with the ability to be strong, to be powerful, be endured when needed. So not allowing my body to become frail or anywhere near anything that resembles frail is super, super important for myself, but also loved ones, everybody around me. She couldn't have said it better. Okay, let's continue.
It helps me with the insulin resistance of midlife. I need to keep my blood sugars steady so that I do not become metabolically disordered. Number 3.
Okay, key point on that. Basically, we're assisting in fighting off diabetes and having any other insulin-based diseases that are going to damage or hurt our bodies. Now, you can get the little blood sugar monitors that you can put on your arm and wear those, and wear them for 2 weeks and get a good idea of what your regular diet is producing for how your body is reacting to the sugars and the foods that you put in your body. And that way you can see what kind of regular blood sugar levels that you have, and how much insulin-based response your body is having to go through. Are you having these huge swings? You should be somewhere between, I want to say like 80 and 150, somewhere in there on regular, maybe 50 and 150, somewhere in there. If you're getting over that, having 200, 300, spikes on your blood sugar levels, those are really, really high and can be very damaging. And so if you don't know those things are occurring, you don't know that you need to make changes there necessarily. And everybody responds differently. You could have a bowl of blueberries and raspberries and your blood level spikes through the roof, and mine goes from 70 to 80. Just everybody's different on how they process this. And how do you process a fibrous-based sugar versus a processed sugar? Eat a Snickers bar and then have those same berries and watch the difference in how your body responds or doesn't respond to those. So that's a great point. Resistance training and just generally staying fit helps you regulate your insulin levels. So that's very key.
I love the feeling of strength. Listen, I want to carry all my groceries in. I want to hike Machu Picchu again. I want to do anything I want to do when I want to do it, and that comes with muscle mass. Number 4.
Absolutely. You have got to stay strong, be strong for whatever job, skill, demand is coming. She wants to go climb a mountain. She wants to carry her own groceries. She pick up a kid, pick up the grandkid, carry bags of cement off of the trailer as this new project you're working on. Pick up wood and transition that around and take it into to burn in the stove on the inside. Anything, every demand, every skill of life. I just want you to be strong. I want you to be strong. One of my clients, Ruth, one of her most proud moments every month, as she discusses, is when she goes to the dog and pet store, getting the 55-pound bag of dog food, and the guy goes, "Do you need help out with that?" And she goes, "Nope." Slings it onto her shoulder and carries it out herself. She's like, "I want to do that forever," right? These are the skills and the abilities that are going to help keep us independent and help us age strong, age well, just like she suggested.
By lifting heavy, I am stimulating the reproduction of my satellite stem cells, which themselves are the fountain of youth. Number 5, frankly.
So basic response there is resistance training is going to assist your body in hormonal responses that are going to help you age well. Testosterone, estrogen, both are going to be the key players on this, and they are going to decline as we age. As you encourage your body to resistance train and you embrace the challenge of progressive overload, your body's ability hormonally to hang on to those and stimulate more of those is going to work at a higher regulation. It's going to work at a higher level of efficiency with that as you age if you were not resistance training. So this resistance components and resistance training is going to have a very high impact on your hormonal responses as you age, particularly as we get to become premenopausal ladies through that process and post. resistance training will be a key player in helping you work through that process. So make sure you're introducing weights into your life. If they are not currently present, you should definitely do that.
I like feeling like a badass when I'm putting 45-pound plates on or picking up a 100-pound dumbbell to do goblet squats. I frankly like that. And I think it's a little amazing when the people that I work with are walking by when I'm living the life that I preach. It's inspirational, and they're like, oh, Dr. Wright is out there hauling iron around. That's why I lift heavy, for my health, for my future, as an example.
Okay, I love it. That last one too. I like feeling like a badass, she says. Like that's a big part of this, you know? It's I'm strong, I am independent, I don't need anybody else's help. No, I don't need you to put my suitcase in the overhead, compartment for me. I got this. No, I don't need you to carry my groceries. No, I don't need help with the dog food. I got it, right? And then as a doctor for her and as coaches and trainers for us, practicing what we preach is super important. I had a stage of that in my life, and it just so happened to coordinate with my worst dad bod ever, where I was not practicing what I was preaching. I was a total hypocrite and trying to tell my clients you need to eat well and lift on a regular basis, and I wasn't doing that myself. Challenges of life and everything else that starts to come up, it's about priorities, and it's about recognizing how important these things are. And everybody has the same amount of time and the same weekly schedule, and we all have 168 hours. What we do with them is up to each of us independently. So we all have those hours, and if it's a priority and if it's important to you, you'll find time to do it. I have so many people I've met, I just don't have time to fit this in. Yes, you do. No one is too busy to do the one thing that will help them age as gracefully as possible with as few disease and few injury and few health risks as possible. Prioritize this as number one. The most important thing that you can do is resistance train and or progressively overload exercise somehow like this for a cardiovascular response, VO2 max, etc., for a resistance training, muscle mass growth and maintenance ability, and then bone density across the board with that. Now you have your hormonal responses, your blood sugar, insulin level responses. You're going to have cognitive increases. Sleep and rest and recovery is going to become really important. Hydration and proper eating, nutrition on a regular basis, whatever that might mean to you. Medication management as we start to age, and then social interaction and stimulus amongst our communities. Those are really the 10 things that if we implement and practice on a regular basis, you are going to age gracefully. You are going to keep all the abilities that you want to have. You'll continue to be a badass in your upper, 15 to 10% in abilities and strength and performance within your classification of peers. You want to be one of the badasses. You want to be leading the way. You want to be the tip of the spear, if you will, for those around you, and saying, I want to be like Dr. Wright. I want to be like Linda Kelly. I want to be like Kathleen and Elaine and Joyce and all the other folks that we get to work with. We want to be like them because they are living examples of this, the value of being strong and how it is improving the quality of their life and keeping them capable and able as all those others around them that they might feel responsible for or that are depending on them are then able to do so because they are still present and able and independent and strong. When you're weak and frail and can't do any of these things and you're too exhausted to help, what good are we now to anyone, right? I'll wrap on this. There's a video out there of a lady who is putting either her kid or a child putting groceries into the car, and she has a stroller, okay? I think I've shown this maybe in the past, but she goes to put a bag in the car and the stroller starts to roll away. And it's rolling down this hill and you see cars going back and you're like, the kid's gonna get damaged for sure, if not die. She sees this and she goes, oh, and she goes to take a step to run after this thing. Her leg buckles. She crumbles onto the ground. She tries to get up, buckles again, smashes her arm and her face on the ground, cannot get up. The cart's rolling. This kid is headed for instant death into this car traffic, and this guy just comes walking out of the corner, grabs the baby, brings him back up the hill. All these people trying to help her get back off the ground. Could not take a quick step, let alone get herself back up off the ground in the most dire moments. in the most important moment where at any time in your life, you're like, if there's a moment where I need to be able to be strong, be quick, and save the life of this small child, it's right now. And your body was not conditioned, capable, able to do it, even enough to get yourself off the ground to try again. That's what I'm talking about. Where at a moment's notice, I got to be ready to do this. And if you're 55 and untrained and that moment comes and you go to take that quick step and your Achilles snaps or your hamstring tears or your back blows out because you don't lift and you don't move anything quickly and you don't throw medicine balls and you don't do split squats or get up and down off the ground, what good are we then to those around us who you claim you don't have time to train because you've got too much to do and too many responsibilities and all these people are counting on me, but you couldn't put in 30 minutes every other day to work on yourself, okay? Be selfish in that 35 minutes because that 35 minutes of selfishness gives you 23 and a half other hours to help all those others around you. This is a good selfish moment. You're allowed to do that. And should it be more than 30 minutes? Absolutely. Give yourself an hour every day. You know what? That's less than, 3.5% of your day, right? I mean, guys, come on, or of your week. I mean, come on. This is a small chunk of your time, a small minimal investment. 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week out of 168, that's less than 1%. What am I talking about? It's less than 1%. Invest that time. It's so important. You get so much from 30 minutes of resistance training every other day, going for a walk the other 30 minutes. Push yourself, get uncomfortable, and reap the results. All right, gang. I hope you enjoyed this. Comments, questions, hit me up down below. If not, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. Get in the weights, in the weight room, lift those weights, challenge yourselves. I love and appreciate all of you. And until next time, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. We'll see you then. Bye.